Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen an online store with amazing prices, beautiful photos, and products that look exactly like something you wanted to buy? And you thought, wow, this is a really good deal. So you place the order, you pay, and then the package never arrives. Or something arrives but it looks nothing like what you ordered. Or the website simply disappears. Unfortunately, this is becoming more and more common in Europe. Online shopping scams are growing very fast, and the tricky part is that many of these fake web shops look almost identical to legitimate stores. In today's episode, I want to show you how these scams actually work, because once you understand the patterns behind them, it becomes much easier to avoid them. Welcome to Webshop Savvy, where we learn how to shop online smarter, safer, and never pay more than we should. Today we will look at 3 very common online shopping scams that are currently happening across Europe, and I'll talk about real examples of how people get tricked. The goal of this episode is simple. After watching it, you should be able to recognize suspicious web shops much faster before spending your money. And that's exactly what we do here. So let's start with one of the most common scams. One of the most widespread scams today is something called fake brand web shops. These are websites that pretend to sell products from well-known brands. For example, in the last few years, European consumer protection authorities have repeatedly warned about fake websites pretending to sell products from brands like Adidas, Nike, Birkenstock, Dr. Martens, or even Lego. And the reason why people fall for these websites is very simple. They look extremely convincing. The scammers copy everything: the brand logo, the product photos, the descriptions, and sometimes even the return policy. So when you first open the website, nothing looks suspicious, but there is usually one thing that should immediately make you pause: the price. If a pair of brand new Adidas shoes normally cost around 120 euros, but suddenly you see them sold online for 30 euros, that should already raise a small red flag. Of course, we all love discounts, but scammers know that very big discounts make people stop thinking critically. In 2023 and 2024, several European consumer organizations warned that hundreds of fake sportswear websites appeared across the EU, targeting shoppers in countries like Germany, France, the Netherlands, and Scandinavia. People placed orders and paid, often with card or bank transfer, and then one of two things happened. Either the product never arrived, or they received a very cheap counterfeit product that looked nothing like the original brand. And the biggest problem is that many of these websites disappear after a few weeks, which makes it very difficult to get the money back. So a very simple rule here is: if you discover a web shop that sells well-known brands with extreme discounts, take a moment to check if the shop itself is legitimate. In my previous videos, I'll show you techniques of how to verify the legitimacy of a web shop. Check it out! The second type of scam often starts not with a Google search, but with a social media advertisement. Maybe you're scrolling Instagram or TikTok and suddenly you see a very attractive ad. It might show a beautiful handbag, a cool gadget, or some stylish clothing. And the ad usually says something like warehouse closing sale, or everything must go 80% discount today only. When you click the ad, you arrive at a web shop that looks quite clean and modern. You see product photos, some customer reviews, and maybe even a countdown timer telling you that the offer will expire soon. All of this is designed to create a sense of urgency. The idea is that you buy quickly before you start researching the webshop. In the last few years, European consumer authorities have reported a large number of scam shops that were promoted through Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok advertisements, especially selling clothing, gadgets, and beauty products. People ordered the products and either nothing arrived or the product looked completely different from what was shown in the advertisement. Sometimes people even received items that look almost like toys instead of real products. What makes these scams particularly effective is that social media ads can look very professional, and many people assume that if an advertisement appears on a big platform, the company behind it must be legitimate. But unfortunately, that is not always the case. This is why it is always a good idea to pause for a moment before buying from a shop you discovered through a social media ad. Just searching the shop name online can sometimes immediately reveal warnings from other customers. The third situation is slightly different. Technically, it's not always illegal, but it can still be quite misleading for consumers. This is when a webshop pretends to be a small European boutique store, but in reality it's just reselling products from overseas suppliers. You might see a website that says something like family-owned Scandinavian brand or local design store. The website looks beautiful and minimalistic, and it creates the impression that the products are designed or produced locally. But after you order, you notice something strange. Shipping takes 3 or 4 weeks, and when the package finally arrives, you see that it was shipped directly from Asia. What actually happened is that the webshop never had the product. They simply ordered it from a very cheap supplier and sent it to you, often with a huge markup. In some cases, products sold online for 60 or 70 euros were found to cost only a few euros on the wholesale platforms. This trick is called dropshipping. European consumer authorities have warned about this type of misleading practice several times in recent years, especially when websites pretend to be local EU businesses while actually operating somewhere completely different. One simple clue here is the shipping time. If a webshop that claims to be located in Europe says that delivery takes 20 to 30 days, that is already a strong hint that the product is not actually stored in Europe. You might wonder why these scams still work when information is available online. The reason is that scam webshops have become very sophisticated. They copy the design of real stores, they use high-quality photos, sometimes they even copy real customer reviews, and they rely heavily on psychology. Big discounts, countdown timers, and limited offers all push people to make quick decisions. But once you understand how these tricks work, it becomes much easier to slow down and check a webshop before buying. So before buying from a new webshop, remember 3 simple things. If the price looks unbelievably low, take a moment to question it. If a webshop suddenly appeared through a social media advertisement, try to check independent reviews first. And if a delivery time is very long for a shop that claims to be located in Europe, there is a good chance the product is coming from somewhere else. Spending just 1 minute checking a webshop can save you a lot of money and frustration. Online shopping can be incredibly convenient, but only when we know how to recognize the tricks and avoid the traps. And that's exactly what we explore here on Webshop Savvy. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment and share so more people can learn how to shop online smarter. And I'll see you in the next episode. But until then, stay safe and warm, and I'll see you.